That's right, so let's get ourselves inside the game. So Dignitas, for our first game of 3, this is where the mind games begin. This is when Dignitas, they had to draft up fun, see what they're up against Empire, and game 1 for me is always a bit of a feeler when you come into these quarterfinal situations. What do both teams want to really try and achieve? Do you want to try and wear them out? And do you also want to draft something very, very different here in game number 1 that's going to screw around with game number 2 and the way they're thinking? Or do we go with exactly the same bands we always do, which is Mag, Bounty Hunter, Bat Rider? But then again, the Wisp band forced out because Empire love it, and they get Scandal's Templar Assassin. And if they don't pick up Jakiro right now, I can guarantee you Goblik's going to pick that up a second.
Giving away a Templar Assassin time and time again. How many times do we see people try to shut down Scandal's TA, and then you have Funnick on something like Clinks, and he's just in an offlane farming somewhere, and then randomly he comes up with like an 11 or 12-minute Orchid, and there we go. There's the Clinks coming out from Empire. Dignitas bans out the Wisp in the first 4, which is definitely to their credit. They've done their homework. They know that that's another very dangerous hero to give away, but Dignitas had to see this coming. When they take heroes like Darkseer and Jakiro, there's no way that Empire is going to let a Clinks go through after that. So when you pick a Jakiro and a Darkseer, you just assume that we're going to see Funnick on that Clinks going up against a Darkseer. It's probably going to be played by Way 2, and this is a matchup that can go either way. We've seen it time and time again. It is very dynamic, but once you get 6 on the Clinks, you get the pack, you can steal creeps for HP, you kind of overcome the amount of damage that you're going to be taking from that Ion Shell during the early game. Yeah,
because you get rid of it just by using the Death Pack strat and the Iron Shell, and all of a sudden your pushing power is gone for Darkseer, and when you lose that pushing power, you lose a lot of control of the lane, and that's when Clinks slowly as well farms up his Orchid. He's never really being harassed too much, and with the Searing Arrows, he doesn't have to worry too much about getting the last hits, because the Iron Shell, the beauty about it is it's consistent damage. You always know when it's coming in, so getting your right clicks on the creeps is very, very easy to get the timing. We've seen Funnick time and time again out lane a Darkseer, get not even an early Orchid, it's just a couple of early levels, Searing Arrows up really high, pop strafe 1 level, and all of a sudden Darkseer's got no life whatsoever. He's trying to use a Soul Ring on the top lane which sacrifices his life, and things just go horribly, horribly wrong after that point. So Dignitas, you're 100% right, they had to be expecting this. They had to be expecting this to come. So maybe they feel Darkseer is still going to be good enough, but Jakiro as well as Tidehunter now being the picks up, I'm seeing a lot of heroes that require a lot of levels here from Dignitas, and that's something Empire's not going to give them. They're not going to give them space.
Well, Tidehunter and Jakiro are definitely working their way towards a tri-lane. What we're likely to see is that since people have been having this trend recently where they pull the middle lane, I'm assuming that Empire is going to be smart enough to try to ward that out. We've seen a couple of times now today, people are starting to react and say, hey, you know what, we can drop a ward here. It's very hard to de-ward in the first place because you actually can't do it without a crow or some method of being able to break trees, and you obviously have to commit to buying the sentries. So I'm not sure if they're going to be so far past that mentality, they're going to buy sentries themselves just to counter ward their own pull, which definitely could happen, but they want to keep Scandal down. They also want to keep this Clinks down. I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to do it because, like you said, Tide needs 6. Jakiro needs levels just to have any kind of a lane presence at all. So far, we haven't seen a mid come out. We could just see the Darkseer take up the reins in middle lane, just straight up against a Templar Assassin, say, we don't even have to pull at this point. We'll make a normal tri-lane and see if we can find something else that can go up against the Clings in the top lane.
We could also go down Navi's lines, Jakiro solo mid. We saw Denny try it out up against the Templar Assassin, and as far as technical sounds, it works. The Liquid, it works against Templar Assassin's Refraction. Vim didn't really 100% work in that game in my mind. It was Axe who carried that game completely out during the mid game, but maybe Dignitas are thinking the same kind of thing, but it would be dangerous to do. It would be very, very dangerous to do. And I don't see Tide really finding any kind of extra levels from this, but now we're going through our last kind of bans. Broodmother being banned out. After our last time casting Broodmother, I doubt anyone wants to see Broodmother being picked up again. There's Ven being taken out by Empire, just in case Dignitas are looking for that little opening. The Bane and Leshrac, and one last hero to be banned out by Dignitas, but 2 heroes which Team Empire love to run their support and couple insanely well with Undying or Templar Assassin or Clinks. All of them work. You've got tons of disable, you've got good summon, you've got good tower push, and you've got combos that can work. If Team Empire want to go aggressive tri-lane, pick up that Chaos Knight. We've seen I love how his name is Tito for this one, but it is in fact Soshka, Sox, I call him for short just to make it easier. We have seen him play that CK a hell of a lot, and if he's part of that aggressive tri-lane, they can really nail whoever's on this bottom lane, be it Tide, be it Jakiro, and if Jakiro gets caught out and he gets done down, they lose everything on that bottom lane. He loses levels, Ice Pass out of the play, Tidehunter will just fall directly after that, and they need one hell of a stunner on that bottom lane to take that #1 position for farm.
Yeah, we're going to see, though. This last ban is taking quite a long time, and they actually take out Night Stalker of all heroes. I was a little bit surprised they didn't take out the Keeper of the Light. That's a hero the Empire loves to run, especially in situations where you know you're going to be having an Undying Plate in that Triline as well. It gives him infinite mana. You can always Tombstone, and you can Decay spam off a cooldown. It applies so much pressure in the laning phase with Illuminate spam that it just makes space for your heroes to farm whatever lane they're in, whether it be the Clinkz in top lane or Templar Assassin in mid, because you kind of have to react to it. It's just so much pushing power. You just don't ever have to go back to base. It's a very, very powerful combination. And of course, you also have that ability once you hit 6 for Keeper to pull you anywhere around the map. And since they're already going to have a Clinkz, Funnick's going to be playing it. It's going to probably be his standard 1-4-4 build, which is to get the max rank of your Skeleton Walk to just have that increased mobility. And because he usually gets his Orchid so fast, he relies on that. Only needs level 1 strafe at around 12 to 13 minutes just to be able to pick off a hero, where if the Orchid is any later, you'd probably want level 2, maybe even level 3 strafe, just to try to compensate for that. So we'll see how lanes work out so far. Looks like Empire's going to take a Rubik. This is pretty much just a countermeasure to the Darkseer and the Tidehunter combination, or the Darkseer and the Jakiro. Whatever spell you can steal, whether it be Ice Path in the early game or Surge, Vacuum, you can steal Ravage as Tidehunter starts to get a couple more levels. Those are really, really good abilities for him to steal at this point, and Dignitas is picking up a Gyrocopter.
Yeah, that's right. We saw Gyrocopter a little bit earlier on today, and it was played in a very, very different way, but we were able to see the potential of the damage coming out from Aoi when he was able to play that one for Dignitas, and we're going to see it again this time around. So we are going to look at safe lane. I would say safe lane, unless Gyrocopter is going to go one-on-one with Templar Assassin in the middle lane, which is where you kind of throw him to get rid of those refraction charges very, very early on. He's a specialist at it.
Yeah, he obviously has that Rocket Barrage that takes it down almost instantaneously. The one downside, though, is you have to be really close to do that. Some heroes like Viper that we saw Team Empire actually ban out against Dignitas, they've definitely done their homework as well, knowing that Dignitas in the past has run that to some pretty good success. It actually pressures the TA quite a bit because of the poison attack, but we're talking about a Gyrocopter here, doesn't have the greatest range in the world, has to put himself into harm's way to get rid of the refraction in the first place. So I wouldn't say it's quite as good of a counter as some other heroes could be, but it is a method, especially during the early to mid game, where in small skirmishes you can get a TA a little bit caught off guard and potentially burst them down, of course, in the back of things like Ion Shell and Jakiro as well, who has pretty much nothing but damage over time abilities. And look at an Empire, they're going to finish things out with the Tinker, so I'm assuming that's going to be Sock's hero in this tri-lane.
Yeah, we would assume so as well, but then again, does he go tri-lane? Do we leave Clinkz on the off lane? No, it's Empire. It's going to be aggressive tri-lane. But Undying, Rubik, and Tinker, fun combination. Really, really fun combination. I really did think that Coddle was going to come out and then Undying would have to go into a little bit more of a harder role. The Tinker is impossible to push against, and when you look at the Dignitas lineup, I think that's going to be a big problem. And Invoker picks up, so I get to see, I talked about it earlier today, and I get to see it, Fogged Invoker.
That Fogged Exort Invoker, always a treat to watch. I'm not sure if they're going to be safe laning or not, though, because if you think about it, an Invoker who goes Exort versus a Templar Assassin, that's not really favored for the Invoker in a lot of cases. You're going to be relying on mid-pulls if you want something like that to work. So it's going to be down to if Empire wards that small camp, if they're able to stop the Scandal from getting so underleveled because of those pulls, then they're going to be in great shape. If not, if Invoker is in fact going to be going mid one-on-one versus them, then we could be seeing something very, very interesting.
I got distracted by Greevil. Damn, he looks cool. Meanwhile, back over at the Honey Badger side. So we'll have Goldblack, he'll be taking up the Undying, just going to run through the lineup. It is going to be an aggressive tri-lane for Empire. Silence heading down south, already with 2 Observer Wards, as Sox, he is a long way down there, starting out with Soul Ring build and a lot of consumables down there. He is really prepping him for the long haul, and that is going to be him on the Tinker. In towards our solo mid, would you believe it, a bottle-rushing Templar Assassin Scandal.
Yeah, I've never seen this before, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy.
First time that Scandal has ever done this. I don't think I've ever seen him play this hero before, so I'm not sure what Empire is thinking, but of course.
And then Funnick on the top lane. And I love actually how Empire do this, and they do it every single time. The fact that they pull him resources. So he starts off with the Wraith Band, gets into the early ring of Aquila, and that just gives him such momentum to get these last hits very early on. Doesn't always 100% have to rely on searing arrows to do what he needs to do, but they pull him an extra set of tangos, and I think also a salve in that one too, isn't it?
Yeah, they pulled him quite a bit of regeneration. You can buy 1 set of tangos, I think, and a Wraith Band when you start off, but you can't buy any more than that. So they've given him quite a bit to ensure that sneaking can't do anything in this top lane. They're going to be relying heavily on Funnick to be getting that very, very fast Orchid, and this is a great method to do it, because if you pull in the extra regeneration, you kind of bridge the gap between when you're going to be getting pressured as a Clinkz and when you get level 6 finally, get your Death Pact, allow yourself to heal up from the creeps that you eat, and just force sneaking back. And speaking of, he needs to be careful. Any damage that he takes right now is going to be very, very bad for him, because it just makes him a little bit farther behind, and he's not going to be able to play as aggressively unless he constantly has a very high level of HP.
Yeah, and sneaking. This is also a horrible, horrible thing for him now. He's got Iron Shell and he's going up against the Clinks. And with this, sure, you already see with his build what he wants to do. He wants to jump in behind the line, just in this little region here, and just take up the creep wave. But Funnick won't allow him to do so. He's got Iron Shell, so Funnick can easily keep his distance, cause a lot of damage, force out a salve or at least a couple of tangos. He might pull this creep wave down a little bit, and Funnick does the damage, but he'll just keep chaining this off until those consumables are gone. Looks like on bottom lane, Gold Black cops a decent chunk of damage here, bringing him down to half life. And Gyrocopter forced already to use up one set of rocket barrages. But this bottom lane control battle is going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on.
Well, the thing you have to be really careful of is if you overcommit right here as Dignitas, you're going to be world hurt. You're talking about March of the Machines, you've got Tombstone, Decay Spam. There is so much that Empire can do to you if you're trying to go for Hill. If you get too much Bloodlust, you can be the one who actually falls instead.
Come on, Silent. I know he's been trying to do this for like the past 30 seconds. He wants to throw him up on this little platform up on the high ground. It's what he desires to do. But it's just this battle which will never come to happen. And man, this actually... Or you're right, March Machines was the first thing Tinker went up with. But what happens when we start getting laser? What happens when we start getting rockets up? And Gold Black is able to stack up that decay. Already Gyrocopter sitting on 473 life points. Lets off a rocket, but this is just going to be harassment. They might even get rid of it before it reaches him, which they do so. And this is kind of in that position where in a pub game, that would never happen. But in competitive games, if you're looking for it and you're part of a tri-lane, you can nail that rocket down before it does any damage whatsoever.
Honestly, I don't see Dignitas Trailing accomplishing a whole lot at this point in time, which means that the Tinker's probably going to get his boosted travel relatively fast, but at the same time, even though he's been able to go for the CS, he hasn't gotten that many. We can see the leader on the board right now is actually Sneaking, who is sitting at 12 at the moment,
but he's completely out of consumables.
Yeah, he's used every single thing that he has so far, and Funnick still has a salve, and he just used the first of his second set of tangos, so Sneaking being forced all the way back.
Sneaking, maybe even get a courier snipe right now, and he's going to get it too, and that was actually the bottle of Scandal. That's even a bigger thing, and they're going to pick him up with cold snaps. Big fighting out from the USA team.
That was really great movement coming out of Sneak. He knew that there was no chance there was going to be wards here. Bottom lane, they're committing so heavily to his Empire, you can just assume that the vision isn't going to be there. Funnick just thought he was backing because he had no regeneration. He was low on health. Brilliant use of his time right there by Sneak.
And now that's 2.5 minutes for Scandal does not have that bottle. This is even bigger. That's going to be the 4-minute rune gone. Not to mention all this harassment which he wants to spam out, that he wants to use, is not doable. Hello, a little bit of trouble coming out from Rubik. He is just stopping the side pull. That was actually playing out really nicely. Coming in with the double damage rune, which he picked up from the bottom lane, picking up Tide, throwing it back in towards the middle lane, and making sure this mid lane pull doesn't happen just by being a presence there. Not by warding, just by being a presence.
Yeah, this is something that Empire is going to continue to do. They're very quick to adapting to new age strategies, and look at them just being even more annoying, doing some counter pulling as well to say, hey, you know what? You're not going to get to stack this at all. You're not going to get to pull it either. But he needs to be careful. He can't get too far out of position because if he eats something like an Ice Path and a Dual Breath, one rocket follow-up, and he could be looking at a death.
That was actually a bit of a fun bait as well. I don't know if you noticed, Aoi was thinking about coming up to catch out Silent, and then Gold Black just moves over to the side. You know, Tinker's always got rockets to spam out if he needs to, and when that happens, you got some decent damage flying your way. We only have 1 point in telekinesis, but it's still time to get that decay off, get a couple of right clicks, maybe Tinker to come in a little bit closer. But once that level 2 starts to hit up on Rubik, then you add a little bit of nukage to that in this bottom lane, one hero could just pop.
Yeah, it's a definite possibility, and so far Dignitas has done a pretty good job of not overcommitting to any fights or anything silly like that. They're still trying to maximize their efficiency in this tri-lane. Gonna see a rocket though on Rubik.
Trouble on bottom lane. It's gonna be his death. And the rocket hits, man. Takes the first blood. Now he's the one to take it. Second kill.
Middle lane as well, Scandal.
That's true, Sneaking's right behind him. He's not able to pick him up though. What would you give for a couple of bottle charges right now? But maybe with a haste rune. See if he's got balls enough to dive in behind it. Yeah, they're Sneaking and running himself away. He doesn't have vision of this. And Scandal's just going to check and see if he was there, but no, he doesn't realize he's already surged himself away to safety. Would have been a fun snipe though.
I like the fact that Snee actually went again the same path that he took last time, but Haste is still up here. Fall going to be forced back to his tower, but I don't think he's going to be too worse for it. And he actually decides to make Tranquil Boots on Invoker to compensate for the fact that he knows he's going to be taking that harassment damage.
And going the Exort build, it's not like he's got the cost to back him up, so he's wanting to get these snipe offs. And I'm wondering how long until this happens too. Do we wait for just that rocket to fly out from the Gyrocopter? It's kind of like the main stun apart from Jakiro's Ice Path. There's going to be no Ravage for a while. We're still only Tide under level 2. We're 5 minutes in, and Ty's walking around that level 2. Obviously, he's not massively under-leveled in comparison to the rest of the tri-lane, but considering he's been trying to pull that middle lane, try and pull down towards that bottom lane as well. That just not have those levels. Here's our Rocket going to go out and tinker. Ice Path going to hold him there. He gets stunned for the moment. Sunstrike coming down, try and predict him to come back out again, but it doesn't work. He doesn't get there in time. It's a lot of damage from the March of the Machines, dropping them down, and Tide's forced to retreat back out again. Goblike, he's got decay in 1 second time, and there should be enough for the Tide Hunter. Maybe it's not enough. He couldn't get it off. The Ice Path holds him out. And then Owie coming in for Silent. He's going to get him as a double kill for Owie. Support is finally TP back down again as the Tinker returning.
Oh, that was such a good Ice Path coming out from way two. How badly did that Undying want to get off that decay? He was actually mid-animation. His hand was up in the air. It's like, I almost, and then frozen. So, unfortunately, the Empire isn't able to get anything done. I kind of gave a slight advantage to Empire in the situation because they committed so heavily to that fight. The Tombstone was down. They ran to the March of the Machines, but the damage just wasn't there.
Yep. Doesn't work at the end of the day, but still want to point out the fact that Sneaking, who at this point is one right click away from death if Funnick didn't get blocked by his own creep there. We're forgetting Funnick. We are forgetting Funnick, and this is the most dangerous thing you can do up against Empire. We know how great he is. 42 for 1 on that off lane. Just this is brutal. Absolutely brutal. And now he's chasing down Scandal, who wants to kind of see him, but it's an Invis Iron Shell killing off Scandal. He's got to pop that Refraction, but he knows he's going to lose it. Sunstrike coming in, but Scandal, he's going to tick down from this Iron Shell. Finally gets a Vision, but it's just done with an invisible force of Sneaking.
Oh, that is so frustrating. There's absolutely nothing he can do about that either. You can't meld, you can't sit still. You have to try to run back to base. Unfortunately, he dropped the trap as soon as he noticed that he was getting the Ion Shell damage done to him. So he didn't have another one to drop to stop him, because if he had to surge to catch up, then he would have come out of Invis and it would have been a different story. He would have lost a little bit of distance. Might have been enough to get him back to a tower, because at that point, he was very low on HP, so he would not have been able to chase that.
Yep. I found that how much confidence that just gave Sneaking, and then Funnick says, just remember your place. Just remember your place and move back a little bit. And let TP on bottom lane. I think maybe Dignitas want to go again on this bot lane. They got the ulti of Gyrocopter up now. And level 4 on Jakiro. There's your Ice Path. That's a weird Ice Path, completely out of position. Tombstone will drop. Decay's out and Justin Bieber way too close. And that's going to be a rocket flying up, just holding Tinker out. That's a great pick up by the Rubik, picking him up and throwing him back into Tides. And Goblike, 1 second on the Decay. Will he get it this time? Yes, he does. Not stopped off by any Ice Path. And moving even closer towards Owie. No more extra Decay, but they're still happy with the 2 kills. Now, that's the first time Empire has spilt blood.
That was a really awkward Ice Path coming out of way two. As good as the last one that we saw was out of him, that one was not really even in the ballpark, unfortunately, and just put 2 supports really out of position. They didn't lose Owie, so I guess that's okay, but they're giving away kills to a tri-lane that eventually, I mean, this Tinker has a Soul Ring finish. He's level 4. He's going to have level 3 March relatively
Scandal
soon.
again. He's too far out. Sunstrike's coming down. Actually, they can't see him. Refraction Charge soaks it up. Deafening Blast going to push him back. The Iron Shell damage. TA Trap tries to slow him as he heads down south, but at the end of the day, successful games by Sneaking again here with Fog.
Yeah, you just really can't do anything if you're Scandal in this situation. You're relying on your team to try to help you, or at the very least, be sure that Funnick is getting his farm, which he definitely is. Because of the fact that Sneak is roaming around the map so much, we're seeing Funnick close in on his Orchid. This is what they are known for doing.
Yep, and the timing is exactly right that you said before. The 11 minutes, hello bottom lane, cooldown comes in, and now he takes out Undying. But a very quick fallback. Owie's not really looking too nice there. A couple of the undead chasing him down, and Silent comes down with a double damage rune. Might be hoping you come back in range of the Tombstone, but not really. But Silent maybe had to get a pick off, but doesn't look like it. Both Dignitas heroes falling back just in case.
Yeah, I don't really blame them.
Or are they? No, Silent's going to come in. He's going to see way too sexy. There's a first right click, there's a second right click, drops him down a little bit. Rocket's flying down as well. And Tidehunter, he's down here with low life, and there's no support coming to him. Gyrocopter will heal up in a moment, but that's in a moment.
And the thing that really worries me is, again, Funnick left alone. He's only 800, maybe a little bit less away from his Orchid now. He's got the 2 Oblivion staffs completely done. Scandal, while he's died a couple of times, he's still actually ahead of the Invoker in terms of overall CS, which with 3 deaths on the board is a little bit staggering at this point to think about. It just means that he's been doing an excellent job outside of the fact that he has been ganked. And I'm a bit surprised that Empire hasn't put any wards up for him at all. They're still heavily pressuring this bottom lane.
Way too just spotting Silent, so they're going to know there's a ward up on the high ground. And that's Empire keeping very close tabs on Fog. TA Trap, Scandal wanting to be aggressive against Fogged. And very wisely not overcommitting, but then again we've got Jakiro instantly coming in. He knew the wall was placed, so what do? Bring down a sentry, get rid of that vision. And now Empire go dark in the middle lane again. What have they even got left? Just that one ward on the bottom lane. Watching the transition in that bottom rune. That's it. Everything else has been counter-ward.
They have one behind the tier 1 bottom as well.
Ah, right. That one was just thrown down before. So they got great vision on the bottom lane, but nothing for the top and nothing for the middle, which is exactly where Funnick wants to rotate the second he gets the Orchid.
Well, the one thing we have to remember is that, again...
Scandal, stay, dual breath, Sneaking gonna come in, picks up a haste rune, now with the Iron Shell, Scandal tries to turn around and fight this one, realizes he's probably gonna die anyway unless support comes in, that's why Silence here picks him up, throws him back up towards the high ground, and now Silence, the one who's forced to take up the damage from this. Scandal could set another trap, which he will do so. Try and slow down one, not really going to get it. There's a back in again. Sunstrike can be perfectly done, but not enough time. Sneaking's already got the kill, while Scandal picks up the Jakiro. And Sneaking gets himself all the way back to safety.
Yeah, Rubik takes a bullet for his TA right there. Definitely the right decision to make. If you're a support, there's no reason to let your TA die if you can help it, especially playing the role that he is. So well done there by Empire, minimizing the losses. It was really good coordination coming out from Dignitas, allowing the Darkseer to pick up the haster and stopping Scandal in the process. They are committing so much to stopping him from farming, and he's still the second highest CSer on the map at 11 minutes. That is absolutely unbelievable.
Oh man, it's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But it wasn't even like just like sacrificing yourself, because it was still a 1-1 trade. We're still looking at 1 kill going one way, 1 kill going the other way. So Scandal's very, very happy with this. And Scandal's one of those players we know he can gain so much momentum. Having these extra deaths, he's still 0 for 3. It's going to hurt him. It's going to hurt him. But he knows that Klinks will make space. Klinks will make space for him because that Orchid is up. 11 minutes and we hit the Orchid. We knew this was going to happen, and we know that now Sneaking's going to die in the top lane, but then again, maybe Dignitas know as well. There's 2 heroes already here. Funnick managed to scout out one of them, and Sneaking's hunting for him now. So Funnick's checking all the corners while Sneaking goes the opposite direction, and he's going to find Silent. I say Silent's going to find him, and then watch Klinks instantly move for the Darkseer. We'll look for the Orchid, right-click strafe, and just nail him down, but there's a lot of support coming the way of Silent. He's got to get a good telekinesis, pick him up, throw him down, and it's going to hit there as well. Topping the Tidehunter. There's your Orchid going out, but nice Ice Path. Sentry Ward's being dropped down. They're going to get a kill on Funnick. Scandal's going to join the engagement as well. Meld it, starts up on the Jakiro, and looks like also Undying part of this fight. Who are they going to go? Sunstrike coming down. Scandal trying to be pulled back into it, and the Macro Pyre. It does so much damage. Silent as well. It's going to be a double kill going the way of Way Too Sexy. One for Sneaky, who's now dominating, and Goblak chasing him down. Starts with Decay, dropping him down to 1,000 life points. The Fog has rotated up from the middle lane. So 4 heroes on this top lane.
All bottom.
Looking to shut down Goblak, and you're right, Owie, Funnick's already down here. We're going to see that top lane die, though. It's Goblak surrounded by 4 heroes. Meteorite's even going to drop in his head. Soul Rip keeps him up. Stick charges as well. Maybe it's enough. No, the right click comes in. Silent can't do anything more. And then on the bottom lane, Gyrocopter gets his spree ended by Klink. So on both lanes, Empire trying to take the bottom. And then up on top lane, there's going to be the Rubik dying right on top of that tier 1 tower.
Dignitas is doing an excellent job of keeping the pressure up all over the map. They forced Funnick to buy back. Even though the buyback did prove to be fruitful, they managed to pick off Owie in the process. They should be able to get the tier 1 bottom unless somebody TPs, but it's a tier 1 for a tier 1 trade. Looks like Sneaking's making his way bottom.
Man, this is dangerous because that Orchid is still there. And he's got no mana when he comes in. It's just presence to die, basically. Or maybe to deny this bottom tower, but yeah, I don't like his chances, especially when Funnick's doing this. He forced to pop the mech charge, and Klink still takes the tower, and then goes, oh, he's thinking about hunting there for a moment. But decides against it.
Empire is still doing a pretty good job of minimizing the losses. Dignitas is ahead, but they're not ahead by a large margin. A couple of thousand gold, a couple of thousand experience at 13 minutes in. That's not that much. And Empire is continuing to push right now. They're forcing another TP reaction mid out of Fog, and I don't think that Scandal... Oh, he's not going to get the tower, actually.
Yeah, it was Fog who came in, got the denial. Now the call down coming on top of Scandal. Also with that rocket on his back. They're going to try and TP extra support in. In fact, not try, succeed. Tinker coming in with the rockets, and then instant Master Machines. No one's going to dive into that. And now he's got BTs. Key time for Socks.
Life just got a lot harder for Dignitas. That right there, seeing the teleport from the Tinker coming out, the boots of travel, the double the Martian machines, that's when you go, oh man, pushing is now going to be just that much harder. And they're going to take Roche right away because they know that Dignitas just lost their tier 1 mid, they lost their tier 1 in the bottom lane. Apparently some lag from Dignitas, hope everything is okay on their end. But this is a perfect opportunity because if you have a Tinker spamming March up on the high ground right outside of the Roshan pit, there is absolutely zero way that Dignitas can afford to go into that.
By the time you get in there, you'll have no life whatsoever, and they don't have any abilities to fight this. It's something we're talking about during the draft, and even just with the first 3, they've got so many heroes that require so many levels. Macropyre on Jakiro, fantastic. We've already seen its effectiveness, but Tyne doesn't have Ravage. Darkseer, what levels are we looking up on him right now? We've got a level 11 up on him. That's absolutely fantastic, but it doesn't really help you until you want a team fight because you got back, you got Iron Shell, that's great, but only now the first point of the wall comes in, and you need that second point as well to be really, really effective.
Yeah, Yeah, the Roshan's going to go down with zero contention whatsoever. Templar Assassin going for the medallion first. And this is a great choice because not only did he get shut down a decent amount in terms of farm, well, I shouldn't say shut down that much, he's still got the second highest farm in the game in terms of creep kills. He gets an item that allows his team to take Roshan that much faster on the back of Klink's already ridiculous physical damage output. And hello, March of the Machines.
And Dignitas, they grouped up as 5 to go in just then. They had to know the March was there. And in the meantime, there's farm up on the top lane. They're going to go for round 2. Tinker will come back in a moment. Actually, Tinker caught short. He couldn't use the Soul Ring, so he couldn't BT back. And there is an opening. They have to use Fortification. So no Soul Ring, which means no BT back to base. There's no rearm. Tinker, he's still pretty damn raw with those BTs, so he doesn't have this fantastic maneuverability. He's got to be a lot more cautious. Double March the Machines. It's an expensive, expensive combo.
It is an expensive combo, but for good reason. There is pretty much no way any team at any point in the game is going to look at that and say, you know what, we can totally walk into this and try to take a team fight in our favor. It's just not going to happen. So now, the longer the game goes, the more item that Tinker is going to get. He's going to start teleporting all over the map, forcing map control. They're probably going to try to push the tier 1 just to take away more control from Dignitas. This is kind of the stride right now for Empire. They can sit back, create space with the Tinker in one spot, use the Klinks to farm elsewhere, or go for picks. Really, the decisions are completely up to them, and I think Dignitas is going to be caught in a very awkward situation very soon.
Yeah, but they've got a couple of heroes that might be able to help out. Double Ice Path, then the Dual Breath. Funnick and Golblack pull back in again. Now the Tombstone going to be dropped by Golblack. Tries to go to K. Soul Rip to keep himself up. Macropie being dropped as well for this. But it's just the death of Undying. They hold their tier 1 tower. But they're pulling everybody up towards this top lane. 4 heroes again for Dignitas. The 4-1 is Aoi trying to find farm on the bottom lane. And he's finding himself a Tinker on that bottom lane, which is not making life easy. And Scandal's finding farm in the middle lane. Is it really worth committing that many people for an Undying kill?
Well, the fact of the matter is, Dignitas has to keep applying pressure. They need to try to get on Empire's side of the map, force something big, try to get a couple of tier 2s or maybe even the tier 1 bottom at this point. The fact is, it's just, they can't really engage because of the fact that Scandal has an Aegis. He's level 11 now, so he's pretty much fully recovered. Fog's only 11 as well, so what they did middle to try to shut down Scandal while it was getting a couple of kills in their favor, he's still pretty much sitting on the same farm as the Invoker at this point.
Klink's going to have to help out in a moment. Sneaking's going to come in. It's a smoke gank, and Scandal, he doesn't really have any movement speed. In fact, he buys the Ogre Club already, just expecting himself to have to go that BKB. Funnick's thinking about helping him. TA Trap slows down one, Sneaking with a surge, and now Funnick can open up. Scandal's bringing him back in range of the support, and Funnick, now's your time. Maybe it is. Soul Rip wants to go out from Golblack. It's going to be the Aegis more dropping. Cooldown will follow up. Decay rockets out from Tinker. He's just sitting inside the trees. And he's going Mana Style Tinker. The Yasha is starting up on him. And Golblack going to follow on through. And maybe it's the moment. Rockets to fly out. Hitting on Jakiro. Now Golblack overcommits himself a little bit too far. Ravage, it is level 6 now for the Tidehunter. Manages to bring down that Undying. Meteor going to fall straight at the top of Scandal. He wants to keep right-clicking with this double damage. Does so much damage, and still March the Machines forcing the rest of Dignitas to walk in to a lot of damage, and that's the reason why Scandal can now turn around and do that damage to Sneaking. Last right-click from Funnick will do the job, and now Fog, he's blocked in! He got blocked in by his own Forged Spirit with the dire creep wave, and now Aoi also trying to TP out. Damage is there! Triple kill for Funnick! Triple kill for that Klinks, and you do not underestimate the Empire Klinks.
How often have we seen situations like this where people just completely forget that Funnick's inside of a team fight, he repositions himself, and he gets kill upon kill. They baited out Dignitas so hard right there, they committed heavily, and what did they get? They got a Rubik kill, they managed to take the Aegis off of Scandal, but really nothing big came out of that team fight. It was a fight for almost no reason, they weren't even going to get a tower out of it, they just forced an engagement that they couldn't win, and that's the kind of ticket that Empire needs to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, I would say you keep themselves in this game. Like, it feels like they're not in control because if you look at the kill count, you go, yeah, now we're 16 for 8. We've got double the kills up on Dignitas. It's got to be going their way. But if you check out the gold, 1,000 going the way of Empire. If they get a small kill, they find another opening, and they're finding farm everywhere on the map. And experience-wise, it was going the way of Dignitas, sitting over 3K, but now it's 4,000. Going the way of Empire, and this just gives them everything they want. And I apologize, it's not Tinker going the Yasha. I was clicking on
Gyro, yes.
Yeah, it was Gyrocopter, and that makes a crapload more sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes more sense than an agility hero is getting an agility item rather than a Tinker. I mean, I'm not saying that a Tinker has never made a Manta in his entire life, but usually not at the 19-minute mark.
I've seen Syndrome play Manta Tinker.
Yeah, it's usually a later game choice, of course, but looks like Dignitas is going to try to pressure this tier 1. The only issue that I see right now is that Tinker himself is enough to pretty much stop any push coming the way of Dignitas, and that, again, buys more time for Scandal, buys more time for Funnick.
Looks like Scandal's trying to make a bit of an opening. Nope, he's going to start on the Forged Spirits and get rid of both of them straight away. Had an invis route and thought he might have gone for a little bit of a wander, but not the case. I love how many sentry wards are all over the shop right now. Just Radiant side looking for everything they possibly
Phonic
can.
picking off Aoi. Looks like we're trying to. Not sure if he's going to do enough damage. Looks like Aoi's going to be able to get away. And this is just what Phonic does, man. He just looks for those kills all over the map. This is why he always goes the 1-4-4 build. Of course, he's 15, almost 16 now, which means he's approaching level 3 Death Pact, and he's going to do even more damage once he gets to that point. But it's 19, almost 20 minutes in. His BKB is going to be done in another 400 gold, and then he can pretty much go on whoever he wants with no worry in the world.
I like this from Way 260 though, already buying up the gem. Even though he's a little bit squishy, he wants to remove off Phonic's ability to know where he can dive. Really just shut him down completely. And it also means Jakiro can get that Ice Path up before Phonic completely destroys him. Maybe. Maybe. He can hope.
Yeah, he can definitely hope, but Phonic's just the kind of a guy who, even though he plays a very aggressive style, he still maintains his farm. He has the highest last hits in the game. Of course, his net worth is also the highest, and he's been moving around a lot. It's not like he's been stationary in his lane. He was until he got the Orchid, but that's the go point for Clinks. That's when you start making things happen. It looks like he's going to just get this tower top, because that's what you do when you have level 4 strafe and that much plus damage. And the thing that really worries me now for Dignitas is while they have been doing really, really good team fights, Aoi doesn't really have the farm to stand up to somebody who's going to have a BKB as early as Phonic's going to have it, considering that in terms of just pure physical damage output, Empire has it way more than Dignitas.
It's actually going to be double BKB too, because Templar Assassin gets hers exactly the same time as Clinks gets his. So, engagement time for Dignitas. If they're not ready for this and they're going, well, if one of them gets a BKB, we'll just go for the other one, they don't have a choice now. They can't get either of them. They have to focus the Undying, the Rubik, or the Tinker, who spams too much machines, and he already gives then Empire what they need. The cover fire of March.
I just want to reiterate, I know I've said it a bunch, but Scandal was 0-4 at one point, and he still has a BKB medallion.
Tinker. Death. That was fast. And then rotation down towards the bottom lane. Goblak, what's he really going to do here unless mass support comes in? Pops the ultimate, throws down the tombstone, goes for the decay. Support is going to be coming in for him right now, and the cooldown's going to hit pretty hard. Who's the one coming in? It's Scandal, looking to start with on the Jakiro, even though it's just been one after the other. Tinker brought back into the game, and now they're looking for some extra kills. Phonic's down here as well, and the entire Empire side brought their support down as fast as they could.
Phonic unfortunately didn't have his Death Pact off cooldown right there, so he's a little bit hesitant about going in, and Rubik actually steals the Forge Spirits. Those things are quite powerful, honestly, especially considering the fact that the more physical damage you have right now, the better. 2 BKBs up on the most important heroes of Empire, and they are looking to fight right now as long as they're all together.
Yeah, Phonic though walking around Invis. There is one sentry ward that's looking at him as the observer ward looking at him closely. Gets picked up by a silent, drop back down again. There's those Forge Spirits you're talking about. Already starting off on Darkseer. Look at that armor just drop on down. He's only got +6 now, and already Tidehunter being completely and utterly disintegrated by Phonic, who popped the BKB, stands his ground. That Ghost set will buy Invoker a little bit of time, but only a little bit. TA Trap, Call Down, Deafening Blast, splitting them up a little bit. They don't get hit by the second hit, and they manage all to avoid it. And then Marsh Machines and the Forge Spirits behind him. Ice Path stopping Scandal from following through. And he's looking for any kind of pick-offs, thinking someone might be TPing out through around the trap, didn't get the vision. And Dignitas sneaking has no mana whatsoever, and they're having to fall back already.
It definitely could have went a lot worse right there for Dignitas because of the fact that Scandal was forced into rushing a BKB and he bought the medallion first. That means there's no blink, which means his chase potential is a lot lower than it would normally be. Yep. Of course, Phonic can still chase people down, but he doesn't have any built-in disables like a TA does with the Psionic Trap, so the rest of the team really just isn't going to be able to help him out in that case. And as much damage as he does at this point, there are a couple of heroes, especially Fog picking up the Ghost Scepter, they can live through that. If they get the Force Staffs out, if they get the Ghost Scepters on their supports, they can still wiggle their way back into the game in terms of team fights. It's just they have to try to find some kind of an opening soon because this tier 1 bottom still stands for Empire, especially when Roshan's going to be respawning in less than a minute at this point. If you're stuck on this side of the map this close to your base, Dignitas
just opens up on Aoi with the strafe, the searing arrows. That's enough damage. He'll pop, or maybe not. Mech Charge just in time by sneaking. Keeps him on 33 HP. That is some lucky or just insanely talented next level play.
It was really good timing, I gotta say. I'm pretty sure he teleported and was just slamming on his mech as hard as he could, going, please God, Aoi, don't die. I'm here to save you. Everything's going to be all right. And then they had a short cuddle session. But aside from that, I mean, Roshan is going to be respawning here any second. They forced Dignitas back onto their side of the map, and this is a perfect opening again.
That is true. TPs get to come back, and Tinker with some decent mana. Well, in a moment, after he's able to refresh up and come back out again to that tier 2 tower, he'll come down, give them the cover fire they want, and Roshan spawns up in 1 second, and that is going to be now actually 3 seconds. But that is your seconds nonetheless. Ice Path, tied, he's in nice and close. Tinker, got to get that march off already. He couldn't, he put off the rockets and already dead now. Probably doesn't have buyback, and Goblak, he's caught out of the fight. He's pushed up towards the high ground. He has to TP himself back out to the tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. How he's trying to run out of here, Scandals on his ass, and now Tides, maybe it's going to be enough with way too sexy Fogged as well as sneaking there. Tides making his way back in against Scandal. There's that Soul Rip, keeping him live from Goblak, returning just at the right time. Tombstone making life very, very difficult. Scandal will, however, go down inside the Rosh Pit, but sneaking nowhere to go as Funnick with the double kill at the end of the day. Buybacks were forced out, and they think they still want Roshan. I don't think they can take it just now, especially with Darkseer buying back and Gyrocopter also returning to the world.
Funnick fashionably late to that team fight, and they managed to kill the Tinker before a single march was used. That's the kind of initiation that Dignitas needs. If they were going to take a fight at Roche, that's how it had to be done. They had to know that not the entirety of Empire was going to be there, and wow, sneaking blows his wall inside of the pit, and no one is there, so 100-second cooldown. That kind of hurts, honestly, because if that fades by the time Empire all regroups and it's still not off a cooldown, I mean, Empire is going to be looking at a lot easier of a team fight, assuming they actually fight with 5 this time and not starting off as 3 or 4.
And it would be okay if Dai didn't know that just happened, but Dai have a ward directly next to the pit. They know exactly what happened here. Jump to their vision, they got perfect vision around the Rosh Pit. This is some harsh times now.
Tinker continues his farm as well. He's got the 4-staff Fenna sitting on top of 1,400 gold, probably going to be making his way towards a Hex, maybe even a Blink if he wants to just be in a much better position and make sure that his March gets the most damage possible that he can, and of course just make sure you can zone him out even farther away when you have that kind of mobility. And Empire now taking this opportunity, already having the Medallion pop and meld onto Roshan.
Negative 11 armor. Roshan just drops so fast, and the Martial Machines, there wasn't a chance for anybody, be it invis or be it just normal to walk into that. They would have died instantly to, was that almost a triple Martial Machines we just saw?
Yeah, I think it actually was a triple there. It was overlapping for at least a second or two, and that's just the strength of the hero, because even when you get a BKB, you can't walk into a Tinker and just be like, okay, yeah, everything's going to be okay. You need pipe, you need mech, you need all of it. You need every single thing to just be able to stand in the march alone, and that's completely discounting the rest of the heroes of Empire, and that is just a really, really bad situation for Dignitas.
Empire able to hold every single lane silent. Still, he got a little bit of space in that middle lane to find some kind of farm before now Funnick, would you believe again now with the Chrysalis up after his BKB, looking to attack on Fogged, and he's already currently an Exort, and this is going to hurt him like hell. The Fate Bolt, Ice Path is holding Fogged, and he will not go down. Orca shouldn't pop him.
Now, that was really weird. He actually wasn't using Searing Arrows right there. He actually just strafed without popping them. I'm pretty sure if he had the extra damage, he got a couple of attacks up right there. That's 50 extra damage each that he was missing out on. That could have potentially been a kill that he just missed.
Probably, maybe he wasn't expecting Rubik to have that Ice Path. It just came out of nowhere.
He was waiting, though, so it just goes to show that he was waiting for the initiation. Maybe he thought the telekinesis was going to come first. It might have caught him off guard a little bit, but as soon as the initiation came, he was there anyway. So regardless, you want to try to go for the kill flat out every single time. It's only 1,500 health, and an Ice Path, I mean, a max level Ice Path, you have a pretty good amount of time to do damage at that point.
Yeah. Well, now, what's the next stage for Empire? How do they push out? How do they even push out to the tier 2 towers? Does it just wait for Dignitas to fight? Whereas Dignitas like, well, we don't want to fight, we want to keep farming. We want to get more farm up on Fogged. Level 14, Scythe the Vice, he's already feeling pretty happy about himself, sneaking. I don't know if he's still trying to build up towards the Shiva's Guard, or if that's just a casual plate mail, just so he can have something to try and deal with the negative armor coming out from Empire.
I think it probably will end up being a Shiva's. It's great against hard carry heroes that do physical damage because you get the minus attack speed, of course. Gives you a nice click effect as well to slow people down in a team fight. And there's not really a whole lot of escape mechanisms coming out of Empire. I mean, TA, outside of having a blink, which Scandal at this point doesn't have, he's actually going for a Diffusal Blade right now. And, he doesn't have the mobility that normally you would see in a Templar Assassin, so going Shiva's is actually quite good. Allows everyone to stay closer together, gives a better opportunity for the Tide to get into the fight, hit more people with a Ravage. I think that's probably what he's going to be making.
Mm-hmm. I love how he's going the Diffusal Blade straight away. It's just so Darkseer can't get people out. He wants these kills just by standing and making them fight like men. Scandal's going to be really careful in this middle lane. Sure, he's got a whole bunch of himself there, but support for Dignitas. 4 heroes already grouped up in the middle lane. And Darkseer, who's continuously farming up the jungle. You don't want to get yourself caught out that close. But then again, he goes back, farms up. Top lane, Funnick's still looking for his level of farm, and he's batted that 2400. So then we can start looking at the Demon Edge. Still obviously needs the recipe to finish up his Daedalus.
Yeah, this is a point in the game where Empire is just going to continue their farm. They're not really scared going to late game, although it is an Exort Invoker we're talking about here, so this is the point where he's usually his strongest, when you just max out Exort. Of course, the more spells you get, the better, but he's got his Hex done, he's got the Ghost Scepter to prevent himself from getting just blown up by the Clinks. They can definitely take a team fight. It's just going to be down to if they can catch the right heroes out first. You want to try to get the high priority targets. I mean, Scandal, Funnick being the most damage output heroes on Empire at the moment. Then you have Tinker, who has that great zone control and good follow-up damage. So there's a lot of targets they can go for. It's just a matter of can they catch anyone out of position, and Empire is just not a team who's known for giving things away like that.
Yeah, the only person which they're really going to have out of position would be the Tinker when he tries to like push lanes just a little bit too far over the river. That'll be the only time you can get him, but to catch him out like that, you normally need some hero that can jump in, some hero that's really, really fast. So we saw Storm Spirit being used for a while when Tinker was almost basically, he was always first 3 pick. That was back in ye old days. But they don't have anything like that. They got the range of Ice Path, they got a homing missile, doesn't fly too fast, they always got prep time. It's just not there. So they have to get lucky, basically. They have to get lucky that Tinker TP's the wrong place where he doesn't have vision.
Empire wants to play aggressive here as well. They're going to go ahead and smoke up. It's a 4-man smoke, just waiting on the Tinker. Of course, he can be anywhere he wants at any time, so it's no real big deal if he's not there at the point of the smoke. And they're going to be making their way towards Dignitas' side of the map. Not sure if they're going to try to catch anyone out or not. Roshan's about halfway respawn, so they're not going for any aggressive positioning like that just to secure Roche. And all the tier 2s right now for Dignitas still standing, and we'll see if Empire can make anything happen here.
Yeah, I think they want to make the most out of that Aegis the Immortal. You're talking about Roshan respawning, but it's also how long until he reclaims that. Scans like, well, can we have an engagement? I've got this thing that lets me relive again. It'll be a good idea to actually use the damn thing. But he's only got 1 minute left. 1 minute left before that gets reclaimed. So Goldblack he can search out, but he also doesn't know where any sentry wards are. This gem that's completely removed their vision. So Empire, they wanted to find a kill. They smoked up. They went through their own jungle, expecting maybe Dignitas were up there searching for them. And then over towards the Ancients. Wasn't there. The other option was to go into the Radiant jungle, and that's a dangerous, dangerous place. They know how many sentry wards were dropped to try and kill them off before, and it was going to happen again. But
well, not only sentry wards, but it's a matter of Empire didn't have any vision when they smoked up right there. When you're going to smoke, you want to try to have vision up so you actually have a point of reference to be like, okay, we saw somebody here at X point in time. Maybe we can catch somebody out going for farming the jungle or something like that, but they didn't have any of it. They had absolutely no vision, and that's really uncharacteristic of Empire. Usually they're very good at setting themselves up opportunities. That's why they're known as very great laners, very great drafters. They think ahead a lot of times, but I mean, honestly, that smoke really didn't do a whole lot for them. It's a little bit of waste of time. It's not going to kill him at the end. And yeah.
Nicely done by Sneaky. Scandal stuck on the high ground. He's going to meld up, but he's still going to get hit by that Sunstrike. And there's no force staff here to get him off. In fact, Tinker is now surged down so he can actually force staff him out to safety, which he now does. But there's no vision for Dignitas. They might even still think he's up there. Yeah, oh, sneaking again! It's the second time! It is the second time! He thought it was legendary, but they have no vision up there. And the Ice Path to check. And now they realize the horrible, horrible truth.
That is very, very unfortunate indeed, and I don't think Empire actually knows about it, though. That's the one thing. We saw the Roche ward last time that spotted out the wall that was just randomly placed, but this time they don't have it. They actually have almost zero vision at this point, even though Scandal now finishes Diffusal Blade. They haven't found a whole lot of openings so far, and honestly that's attributed to the fact that Jakiro and Dignitas has picked up a gem. So any time that Empire goes for aggressive warding, they're very vigilant about their scouting. They make sure that Empire is not going to be able to catch them out with a random smoke or anything like that, and it just allows them to play a little bit safer, and they can go into lanes like Sneak is right now and not really feel like they're going to get burned down just instantaneously.
Yeah. Maybe another prep right now for Goldblack, another smoke coming in. So we're going to have a 3-man smoke act maybe. Unless there's going to be another one join. Looks like Scandal just wants to farm up a little bit more before it's over. And then we'll go for a bit of a wander with them. Well, so he continues to control everything, and Funnick continues to farm as well. Daedalus is fully done for him, 33 minutes in. Haven't seen his next item, but 234 CS he's managed to find. He is at the top of the CS board, 8 for 1 as well. So as far as kill count goes, he's also on top of that one. Gold per minute through the roof. 514, not as high as we're seeing today. We've seen some 600s and some 700s, but considering the Dignitas is still 20 to 12 in favor of them as far as kill count goes, he's got to be pretty happy with himself.
That's impressive to say the least, and in terms of Aui's farm at the moment, he's still sitting on 3,800 gold. He's got the Manta finished, so the later the game goes, Gyrocopter actually makes a relatively healthy transition into a hard carry just because of flat cannon and how it works. It's 6 attacks and 1,000 radius that can do a tremendous amount of damage. I'm not sure if he's going to go for a flat DPS item after his Manta is done. He's already got a good amount of HP. He's sitting at about 1,600. His AoE damage output is actually quite good at this point. He's putting points on his stats as well just to beef himself up a little more. So the later the game goes, honestly, Gyrocopter becomes a very, very good carry. Heroes like Rubik, Undying, of course, we talked about early game how it counters the Tombstone when you have the flat cannon, but heroes like, again, Rubik or Tinker, they can't get into a fight. They will get hit by that, and with the damage that Aui's going to be doing the later the game goes, they can't stand in a team fight anymore unless they focus him down.
Yeah. We saw the last time Gyrocopter was played by Aoi, it was like 5 hits to bring down just a normal hero. Like, we're not talking like an under-farm support hero. We're talking like that 2-3 position. Scandal. I'm really waiting to see how long it's going to take before he finally gets that Blink Dagger up. Or if he's even going to go it. Is he even going to go it? Do we just transition into something else? Do we look for the Desolator? Do we just look for something else?
Now, positioning for TA is super important. I would actually be a little bit shocked if the Blink wasn't his next item. You want to be able to get in right away, pop your meld as soon as possible to get the minus armor out, allow your Clinks to go on somebody and just completely turn them inside out. That's what their plan is. I mean, you want to be able to go into a team fight and just focus somebody down that fast. That's what you get the Clinks for in the first place. Tinker, by the way, now picks up a Scythe of Ice.
Yeah, this is a big thing as well because we know Rearm, it does work on that side of the device. So if you find someone else out and you've got the mana pool to do it, then we're looking at a continuous hex. And Gyrocopter, his damage, suppose there is the BKB, but what happens when that's gone? If Tinker doesn't go down, then we're looking good. Or if he's the one to initiate as well and gets that initial hex out in Gyrocopter, then forever hexed, never a BKB.
That's definitely a troublesome situation. Roshan's going to be respawning here in just a second, so both teams making their way towards that pit, just waiting at a couple so far. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. When you have good positioning, you can just spam the march from a spot where they can't even go on you, but actually he's going to bot out instead. He's not going to sit there. Roshan pops right in front of Scandal, and it looks like they're going for it.
Surprising he went out just then. This is the timing you want to be popping off that March Machine. Scandal. He's right next to that high spot. He's got no way out of here. And there's the open up on Tidehunter. It's Funnick trying to do it with the BKB, already with the Orca, but the Ghost Scepter stalling him up. Now Aoi and Funnick teaming up together. It's going to be Aoi. Maybe Aoi going down. It's this the big battle. And it's going to be Funnick coming out on top at the end of the day. Scandal now can move himself over towards Sneaking. He's on the run as fast as he can. I don't know how long he's going to be able to run for this one. The Surge now wears off. Meld hit. Nice wall. This time is perfect, but the K from Undying. Goblak raised the fist and this time hit Scandal fighting up against himself, or at least an illusion of himself. And what do we just steal? We just stole Ice Wall. But that's not really going to have any kind of effect. It's Invoker out and not a single casualty for Empire.
That was such a devastating team fight for Dignitas. The Ravage was actually well-timed and hit Funnick. He didn't have his BKB up.
Ooh, pick off by Fogs. That wasn't the plan.
Yeah,
but it's still going to be Scandal as well as Funnick picking up what they want.
That fight didn't really make any sense. Everybody from Dignitas was attacking different people right there. Funnick got so low, he was at about 20% HP just from Aui's damage alone. If anyone else had helped him at all, Sneaking didn't even wall, didn't do anything during that team fight, got totally locked out. There was no follow-up damage at all. If they had managed to kill Funnick right as Aoi died, they might have had some kind of a chance of turning that around, but everyone outside of Funnick was too healthy. They didn't really do a whole lot of damage to any one person. It was just all super spread out. Honestly, as far as Dignitas' team fight goes right there, it felt a little bit sloppy to me.
Yeah. Do we say it's just the curse of the Americans here at Dreamhack? Happened to EG during the last Dreamhack event. Quantic happened to them as well. And now Dignitas. We really hope they don't fall prey to this. And this is just like game one jitters. Is what we want it to be, because the better game Dignitas play, the better game we get to watch. And Empire. I am still very, very impressed the fact that Sox is working so well with them, even though doesn't speak Russian. He is still capable of communicating enough with this team and is able to do what he needs to do. But then again, Tinker's is kind of like a bit more of a solo kind of role. Keep all the lanes pushed, come in and hex when you can.
And this is why we were talking about the other day, how they give him the heroes that he's comfortable on. He's known for playing Tinker in the first place, so you put him on a hero that he's already comfortable with, and hold on, top lane. Sneaking might be in some trouble, but no hex actually coming out from the Tinker just yet.
Yeah, there's the Rockets, nice Ice Spot. Actually going to catch out too, both Funnick as well as Tinker. And Funnick, oh, there goes Jakiro. No life points remaining, and he had full when he started. Back up, nice. Going to cancel off one. There's a Hex already going out, and that'll be the death of Tinker. But Darkseer Wall being used to try and go for that. And there's still a 1-for-1 trade. Jakiro for a Tinker, not the best trade in the world. But Empire might not be done yet, and they definitely are in the bottom lane. Scandal is down here by himself, and he's getting closer and closer towards his own Daedalus, and looking at Owie on that bottom lane. Level 17 up against a level 20. We've got so much negative armor from Scandal. It would force the BKB, and I think already our charges are low on that one. 9 seconds on it.
I'm not really sure why Owie felt it was necessary to buy a BKB here. I mean, you look at the team right now, I mean, yeah, you have an Undying, which is some decay damage, a Soul Rip, you have a Rubik with a Fade Bolt, and a Tinker, but I don't know if that's enough to really warrant it. If you're really worried about laser that much, you can just Manta it off, you can Manta off the Orchid, things like that. He was already pretty tanky to begin with. I feel like he needs an extra damage item. Imagine instead of a BKB, if he had something like a Crystallis, maybe even more towards his Daedalus, he probably would have been able to just one-on-one Funnick in that team fight around Roshan. I don't know if the BKB was the perfect option for him right here.
Oh man, he's going to be tested in a moment. As we're seeing the next set of items coming out for Empire. Lincoln Sphere fully done now for the Clinks, and just a full Daedalus coming down for Funnick, or going up for Funnick after it buys the Demon Edge from the Secret Shop. As long as he doesn't lose it. Fogs is moving up that middle lane, and there's a lot of support here, but then again, there is a huge ass, like Terminator March of the Machine, straight down that middle lane. No one wants to go into that.
Yeah, definitely not. Dignitas going to go ahead and take their leave after they see Tinker actually teleporting back to the Tier 2 mid. So the rest of Empire is all here. Dignitas retreating back to their side of the map. I mean, this is the point in the game where the Clinks is so far ahead in terms of net worth of everyone else. He's sitting at 22,000 net worth almost, comparative to the 15,000 that is the next highest, and that's going to be Fog playing on the Invoker. So Fog's done a pretty decent job. He's actually not died at all this entire game as an Exort Invoker against a Clinks, which honestly to me is a shock, but that's just attributed to the fact that he went a very, very fast Ghost Scepter. And I mean, you still have some pretty decent carry potential coming out of Dignitas. We talked about the late game of Owie, but he's basically put his late game off by building that BKB. Now he's going to pick up a Demon Edge. Looks like he's working his way towards an MKB. Yep.
Empire forcing the Tier 2 tower. Wondering if Dignitas will 100% want to defend this. They do have Glyph if they want to use it, and it is used. Sunstrike going to come on down, having a little bit of a surge, but Scandal didn't retreat out, and now it's actually going to be Funnick up on the high ground. The Ghost Scepter able to save the Titan for the moment. We haven't seen anyone die just yet, but Tinker's getting pretty damn low. They get rid of the Tombstone very, very quickly. Darkseid's a long way out. Tide did drop at the end of the day. Scandal getting caught, and that's Owie trying to open up on top of that TA. He's got no melt, he's got no refraction. He needs something up, and there's the Aegis, the Immortal. It's going to have to pop off at this one. Funnick looking for even more hits there on sneaking. Not going to be enough damage, however. That rocket, they've got to get rid of that. There we go. Take it out. No extra stun. 2 heroes on the sideline for Dignitas and Empire. Full strength, looking to go in. Forced up already, and that's going to be already the Hex on Fog. Follow from Scandal, Meld hit, and that's going to be him gone. Picked up a Telekinesis, sneaking back towards the front lines. Now he's orchid it up, and it's Funnick who can't decide who he wants to hit. The mega kill streak has already ended the Invoker. There goes sneaking. Nice Darkseid wall. The last thing he can do, Godblack burning, and does die out of that one. But Funnick then opens up on Fog. He came back in towards the engagement. TA being brought down by Owie, but March of the Machines, there's just so many waves. Ravage will pop off. They don't want to go in there. Owie has got to get out of there, same as Fogged. There's a triple kill for sneaking, and Dignitas hold the line.
That was a really great base defense. At the start of that fight, the Tidehunter died without even being able to use his Ravage. He got crit for 1,000 damage by Funnick, and he popped the Ghost Scepter for dear life, and he's like, I really don't want to die here. Unfortunately, he had to wait for his full resurrection timer while a couple of buybacks occurred right there. Tinker actually bought back, Invoker and Darkseer bought back as well, so they managed to defend the base. And this is what I was talking about, the late game transition. The Gyrocopter still does a reasonable amount of damage. That Flat Cannon was just tearing apart the supports. If he's able to land any attacks at all during the team fight, you can just assume anyone in the area is going to be getting hit by it. You have Call Down, which does a reasonable amount of damage as well, and you still have that Rocket Barrage that's just eating through Refraction. He managed to focus on Scandal and eventually take him down after the Aegis. So very well done there by Dignitas. The wall finally from sneaking was there, by the way. Like the first one this game that I could say, you know what, that was a decent wall, and they managed to hold it.
He's basically like the PGG of what PGG is to Enigma, sneaking is now as to Darkseer.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. It's reputations hold. 27-21, this kill count's getting closer. One thing I haven't even brought up for a while is that gold graph, and it looks like it's slightly going downhill in favor of Empire. However, during the last engagement, the gold might have gone the way of Empire. They didn't take racks, but Dignitas, they got a lot of levels. Got to remember, Empire is so high in levels in comparison to Dignitas that they earn so much more with every single kill.
That just means the draft from Dignitas is actually quite strong, especially during the late part of the game. You have a Tide Ravage. He only had to use it for one hero, and they still managed to defend their base. Granted, Empire played that a little bit over-aggressively. They dove pretty hard to get the kill on Fog, maybe assuming he didn't have a buyback or anything like that, but it has been a while since he's decided to buy any items, and the longer the game goes, Aui's going to start getting more items. He's got 2,300 gold saved up now. He's getting very close to his BKB. He might just save for the buyback just for safety, just to make sure he doesn't get picked off and eventually lose a Rax, because it is reaching that point in the game, 44 minutes in, where one or two team fights inside of anyone's base, basically, is going to decide the game entirely.
I think Aoi always needs to have that buyback, man, just as you said, because you look at this damage which is coming out from Klinks. He's got 4k gold sitting on top of him after Daedalus and having that Orchid. If he gets Monkey King bar up, BKB even in itself is not going to save him from anything. He's going to hurt just as badly. And this is going to be the biggest problem. If Klinks gets space during an engagement, he does all the damage he needs to. If TA gets space or gets a good initiation, she'll do all the damage that she needs to. And then Tinker cover, Rubik making sure he can help out as well. Got to try and steal that Ravage a lot more. We haven't seen it just yet. And, well, Undying just is Undying.
Yeah, Undying is up. He's pretty much strong throughout the entire game, but he is pretty much playing a hard support, so he's a little bit poor in terms of an Undying, which I suppose isn't too bad. As long as you drop your Tombstone, get a couple of decays off, pop your ulti, and walk around, you've pretty much accomplished your job at this point if you're Goblack. But we're talking about some items pick up here on Empire. Scandal now has his Daedalus done with 2,000 extra gold, and we're talking about heavy damage coming out from these two heroes. It's going to be absolutely insane.
Dignitas grouping up on the top lane. Thought for a moment they were gonna have a bit of a crack and go for a smoke gank, but at the end of the day they decided not to. There's too much pressure coming elsewhere. Tinker's keeping every single lane push. It's like Dignitas can never even get over. Not even just using telekinesis to try and bring down these forward spirits of Invoker who are holding the middle line, but it's the only split push we're seeing come out from Dignitas. They want kills, they want tier 2, they want to force the fight. That's all this feels like right now. They believe they can take team fights.
Well, they definitely can.
Maybe with this Daedalus arriving now, they definitely... If Aoi gets enough damage, maybe it is.
Yeah, he's got the MKB now. This pretty much means this is an all-in maneuver. This is all or nothing, because if you're going to save for a buyback... Oh, no, never mind. It is a Daedalus. Wow, I thought it was actually going to be an MKB. You were right. I actually didn't check it. So, yeah, Daedalus done up on Aoi, and that's, again, an all-in maneuver. They want to take this fight.
There's a sentry ward looking at him. Lincoln Spear, the Hex, the Meteorite, everything being dropped on down, but the decay from Goblack, perfect, and the Tombstone, making it very, very difficult to move, but Funnick will go down. Marsh Machine, Sunstrike, perfectly positioned as well. Picked up the retreating Tinker, and now going to go over towards Fog. How many Sunstrikes can you achieve? It's being stolen out by Silent. That's the reason why he's force-starving himself away. They've got to get out of here. Sneaking on low life. Scandal, he's pretty low as well. Wants to turn onto Aoi. Goblack's here, but then barrage out from Aoi. Funnick, he wants revenge, and look at the damage on the Tides, and then as well onto Aoi. He does pick up a double kill. Rockets from Tinker fly out. There is a TP out, and just in time, and Tinker says, I'm going to be king of the castle. Can't find anybody else further down, and, well, Sneaking is the only one to escape back out. He's coming in through the bottom lane. But triple buyback from Dignitas. Is it Roshan time? Yep. It's Roshan time.
That's exactly why they bought back. They're all going to teleport to the tier 2, make their way to the pit as soon as possible. And Scandal is unable to join this fight. Rubik is unable to join this fight. So this might mean for the first time the entire game, Dignitas gets a Roshan. This could be a huge problem for Empire because Scandal's going to be dead for so long. His buyback is going to be off cooldown when he comes up, but he's not going to have the money for it.
Well, then again, remember what Tinker's capable of doing. He's even getting himself in a better position. So now, Marsh of the Machines, rearm. Marsh of the Machines, rearm. Funnick opens up on Tides! He's going to die from that one. The Orca should pop him even with that mech. Maybe it's not enough. He lives for the moment, then Urn charges up. But they're forced back out, and it was the Justin Bieber, who's way too sexy, getting brought down. And Tinker, much power showing right now.
I swear I blinked and the Jakiro was gone. Like, he used to be standing right outside of the pit, but just caught up completely by Funnick, and those are the kind of pick-off kills that are so, so important because it opens more space.
Oh, looks like we're going to open up now on Funnick, and Funnick really caught out. Decay trying to keep him alive, but not enough. Now he's on the sidelines. CA will respawn. There is, however, that Tombstone. The Meteorite dropping down, and a lot of damage being done to Tides. He's almost dead, but not dead just yet. He is being hunted by the zombies. Goblack doing what he can, and it's enough. Tinker's, in fact, the one to pick him up. Aoi standing his ground. He's still trying to get rid of the damn zombies. Goblack soul rips, and Sand his ground with Scandal. Brings down the Gyrocopter. Well, looks like double kill happening for the Tinker. Still having himself a great old time a little bit further down, and this is going to be Roshan, would you believe, for Empire after all of this. They managed to win that, and they get Aegis, and they get cheese.
Funnick, I mean, even though he ended up getting picked off, he bought enough time for Scandal to go ahead and get back up. It let them actually defend, ultimately get the Roshan themselves. I thought the Dignitas had a window of opportunity here. There were only 3 people alive from Empire, but Funnick's damage, absolutely unreal. Just killed the Jakiro instantaneously. I don't really think that anyone was expecting them to be able to defend it as well as they did, but now that they have an Aegis at their disposal, Dignitas had a triple buyback for that, and they ended up not being able to get it. That hurts so much.
I think also something that frustrated the living crap out of Aoi is the fact he wanted to kill off Goldblack, but he couldn't do it. Fogged! This is 80 seconds on the sidelines, and no element is going to help him out this one. Scandal's going to take the tier 2 tower just by taking this one kill. He's got support from Rubik. This is a guaranteed tier 2, and may even damage to a tier 3. But what I want to say is, Aoi couldn't right-click. He wanted to kill off Goldblack, but he got Blade Mail. He would have killed himself if he attempted it.
Well, he actually had his BKB popped when the
so
Blade Mail was on.
Fine.
Yeah, he would have been fine. I was actually kind of wondering about that because the Undying didn't really seem to be taking any damage. And I knew that he had the BKB because he popped it as soon as they killed Funnick and they were committing themselves to the team fight. But this is now a position where Empire is going to once again be in the dominant role. They have the Aegis for this push, and I'm not sure if Dignitas has what it takes to defend. 40 seconds left on the Invoker being alive. This could potentially be a Rex.
Definitely could be. Tide is going to get this perfect Ravage. He's going to get an absolutely perfect Ravage in with the Darkseer wall from sneaking. It's the only way they're going to stop Empire. Already with a pickup. Cooldown going to start. Is there a vac? Scandal's on the way back out, but look at the march of the machines! How do you go into that? The rocket flies out, and they're getting rid of that as well. Not going to hit on Scandal. And Funnick just opens up a massive can of whoop-ass on that melee Rax till he gets stunned up in Scandal. He blinked in, and now with the wall, it's nicely positioned, but Scandal dropping down Aoi. He goes down. Tides will go down. There's a double kill for Funnick, and they will look towards the Rax, and GG is called. Empire will take game 1 of 3 up against Dignitas here in the quarterfinal of the Dreamhack Corsa Vengeance Dota 2 Cup.
I gotta say, man, this game delivered. I think a lot of people were expecting big things in Empire versus Dignitas, and this is just game number 1 between these two teams.
Yep.
This is an absolute insane game. There were so many back and forth exchanges. Dignitas was so far ahead in terms of kills at the beginning, but the efficiency of Empire getting Funnick that very fast Orchid. How many times are we going to see this in this tournament before somebody stops it?
Well, how do you stop him? You can't ban him in the first 2. What are you supposed to do? Most people will ban out the Wisp against Empire. If you don't ban that out, then they'll pick it up. They'll combine it with a CK or Sven or whatever else they want to pick up. There's just too many heroes you can't ban the first 2. So it's got to be the only way to stop him is go against him in the lane. You can't let him solo on that top lane. You've got to have someone more powerful than a Darkseer capable of doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, Klinx is a hero who needs his lane to be absolutely just easy for him to be able to do what Funnick does during the mid-game. That's just how the hero works. You can lane against it, but every single time they pick the Klinx, they already know what lanes the team that they're playing against is going to be running. That's why they take it so often. They pick 2 heroes, like for instance in this game, very, very early on, you had the Darkseer Jakiro. Okay, well that screams tri-lane because the Darkseer is obviously going to be going to the offlane, so they're allowed to take it in the first 3 and be confident in the fact that there's not going to be any contention for his farm. So time and time again,